Hi everyone, this is Baruch Hagbosh. In this video I wanted to share something with you that really touched me, and I would love to share this with you so it would touch you too. It actually came from a friend who's also a coach, Tracy Duas. She's focusing on the value system of people, axiology if you heard. So the concept goes like this, right? There's 3 levels how we value things. Level 1 is systemic, it's the lowest. Level 2 is extrinsic, and level 3 is intrinsic, right? So, but before I'm going to go into those levels, I want to show you something else that you will see why this is extremely important and why I'm excited to share this with you, right? So if I would ask you, what do you want, which I did once with one of the students, and he said that he wants to make $10,000 a month. And I told him, do you really want it? And he said yes. So then I asked him, do you really need it? And that kind of got him confused. I want it and need it, right? It's kind of 2 different angles. So I told him, if you don't really need it, want it is not enough, because you're interested in making it, but you're not really committed and you don't really need it. And if you don't need it, you're not going to do what it takes. So we try to go back and forth and try to see, is there a way for him to spend this $10,000? Eventually he found a way, and we saw that he actually needs $10,000 a month. Then the question came, is it a must for you? Right? Because one level is to want it, second level is it needs to be done, and the third level is it a must? Because if it's not absolutely must, nothing will happen. So after digging for some more answers, we found that it's a must. This is something that needs to happen, it's a must, we're going forward. So then we came in from the 4th angle, which is even deeper. And is it important, right? I see people over and over and say that, hey, I know what's important, I know what I must do, I know what I have to do, and so on, but somehow I'm not able to do it. So the conclusion basically is, at the end of the day, at that moment, if I'm on the couch and I'm not getting up to do whatever I'm supposed to do, laying down on the couch is more important than something that I need to do. And you can convince me, or I can convince somebody that something that I need to do is more important. The fact that I'm laying down on the couch shows that laying on the couch is actually more important at that particular moment, right? So catch yourself, and you will see that you usually do what's important. Nothing to do with what you want, with what you need, and what you must have. Now, but something that is important, like I mentioned earlier, breaks down into 3 levels. And it could be a big trap, right? So let's look at them. So systemic level is the lowest one. And this one is focusing more on the ideas in a perfect world scenario, right? So when we coach people, we ask them, okay, like, what do you want? I want to be happy. I want to be wealthy. I want to be healthy. But those are just in ideal world. Like it's not measurable and it's impossible, right? Because what's wealth to you right now could be not wealth at all to you later on when you actually get it, and it could be absolutely nothing to somebody who's even more wealthy than what you're planning to achieve. So what does that mean, right? So it's just an idea, and it's not usually a trap, right? So one of the traps for myself, for example, not going into business, I thought that my house has to be absolutely neat and clean. And it's mission impossible. Why? Because I have 6 kids. You bring my kids, after 1-2 hours, it's like we never cleaned before, right? So it requires daily maintenance and cleanup. So if I would be attached to that systemic idea of value, I would constantly have fights and arguments and power struggle with my kids to keep things neat, which is not really possible because some of my kids, 4, 5, 6 years old, they're not so aware, right? Now, the next level is extrinsic. Extrinsic level is where whatever you had as an idea, you actually brought it to reality. It's something tangible, something that you actually experience and achieve, right? So if I wanted to make $10,000 from one particular deal and I actually have it in my hands, it became extrinsic, right? I see it. I wanted to create some kind of furniture. It was an idea. It was in a systemic realm. Now actually happened, and I'm able to touch it, see it, so it became extrinsic. So extrinsic is another level, but it's not ultimate level because it's still limited, right? So if you decide to go visit some places, acquire certain things, experience certain things, eventually all this will be empty. It will create emptiness inside, the void, and you would try to fill it, and it would not be filled with just extrinsic things, because every extrinsic thing, it has its limitation. Something that you can possibly relate to as a youngster, you can acquire some kind of toy. After a few moments, that toy is not important anymore. I remember when I got my car that I really wanted. I was so obsessed with it, and took me 2 years to get it. At the age of 25, when I actually got it, 2-3 months later, it was just another car. I did not get out of it continuous excitement that I thought I would get when I did not have it, right? Now, the third level is intrinsic. Intrinsic level, it's actually infinite level. Intrinsic is when we actually connected to people. People have no value, right? It's infinite value. You cannot put a value to a person. You cannot say like, oh, in your life you will produce $10 million, so your whole life worth $10 million. We know it's not how we measure things, right? We also saw that if something would happen to someone somewhere, they're in trouble, people risk and use a lot of resources. They don't argue like, well, is this person really worth it or not? No, we jump in and we try to do our best to save life. Life is infinite, right? So intrinsic is what we after, right? And when we also dig at our coaching sessions, on our initial coaching sessions, to see where a person actually wants to get, when we hear that I want to be happy, healthy, wealthy, not good enough. I want to acquire this, I want to travel there. Yes, that's all great, not good enough. Let's go deeper. And pretty much every time we hear people say, well, I want to contribute to this cause or this cause. Somebody wants to help homeless, somebody wants to invest in youth at risk. Somebody is looking to invest in the abused children, and there's all kinds of reasoning all kinds of reasons why people want to do something, but it's on an intrinsic level. So that's something that is much bigger, right? And actually Tracy gave an example which also kind of stuck in my head to have this idea in my mind. Maybe you can relate to this better. She gave an idea with a cell phone. When cell phones were not around, the idea was to create a cell phone that was just systemic, right? It's just an idea. We don't see anything tangible. When they actually used those blueprints and created a cell phone and were able to make a phone call, dial, and communicate with somebody, it became extrinsic because it's tangible, we see it, we're experiencing it. Now, and let's say somebody got into an accident and there's no payphone next to that person, it's somewhere on the highway. You're dialing an ambulance, 911, from your cell phone. Now the ambulance comes, does their magic, saves a person, and says to you that, you know what, 3-4 minutes more, this person would have been dead. Then we see the intrinsic value of the cell phone, how it was able actually to save life. So it's always on those 3 levels. So with that, I want to give you another example, something that I took out of my coaching session with Tracy, that after the assessment that we ran, I do not really value things, but I value people, right? So I don't have any distortions with valuing people. So for me to go and experience certain things or acquire certain things, it's not as exciting as I would if I would invest time into a person. So for me to actually be happy and have people to be happy around me, when we go to experience things or acquire things, I actually have to, in my head, attach it to a person. So for example, if my wife wants to go on vacation and experience certain things, I would go. I would not necessarily go there for that thing or for that vacation. I would go because my wife is going there. I'm going to be with her and I'm going to actually enjoy my time because I'm with her, not because of the thing. So when you know your value system, and especially when you connect to everything on the intrinsic level, your life becomes very exciting. You feel that you live with purpose, and you actually become more excited to do things and jump and do whatever it takes, basically. So with that, if you like this video, share. There's a lot more, obviously, to add to this. It could be ongoing conversation. Feel free to comment below, and we'll pick up from there. And also feel free to suggest additional topics to discuss. Thank you.